What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you reviews on all things wrestling. Before I get started with tonight's review, I need to get this off my chest real quick. I want to thank everybody who viewed my previous video, the funniest moment of the week from my WWE as a fan standpoint, where I gave my favorite funny moment of the week. And that was when Ember Moon said, "Grab her!" That was the funniest moment to me. And that moment and that video got almost 20 views. So to all that viewed it earlier this week, thank you so much. It is well appreciated. And it helps me know that I'm doing something right. So I really appreciate all the subscribers. I want to thank all of you who viewed the last few videos. Thank you so much. That video got more views than the previous ones. So thank you so much. With that being said, let's get started with tonight's review of Friday Night Smackdown. In the beginning of the night, we saw Cesaro come out, and right before he could get a word in, his original foe, Seth Rollins, comes in, interrupts, and then out comes Jey Uso, and then out comes Daniel Bryan, who has aligned himself with Cesaro after being longtime friends outside of the ring. So that moment turned into an amazing tag team match in which we saw, of course, Jey Uso. I don't know how he's still standing. I really don't, because if I had got swung around as many times as Jey Uso did, I would have a splitting headache. And I'm going to tell you what is hilarious. After the tag team match in which Cesaro and Daniel Bryan won, Kayla Braxton, hallelujah, a little crush there. Kayla Braxton, TMI, but Kayla Braxton came out and interviewed Jey Uso. And the funniest thing happened. Jey Uso said, "I feel like I'm about to throw up." I probably feel the same way. In fact, speaking of throwing up, for those of you who may not remember, there was actually a time where Titus O'Neil was swung around on an episode of SmackDown during a Thanksgiving edition of SmackDown way back in 2013. And Titus O'Neil was swung around by Cesaro and ended up throwing up on JBL's hat and putting it back on JBL's head. That was the funniest thing I have ever seen. I'm going to see if I can make something out of that sometime later on. But that was hilarious. I don't even know how Jey was standing at the end of the night, at the conclusion. He seemed perfectly fine. I know he has to have a headache, because I would have had a headache. I remember as a kid when we were playing on the playgrounds, and they would have these little mini merry-go-rounds that you would spin on. After about 5-10 spins, I'm off. I got a headache. I'm laying down. I don't want to do nothing but for the rest of the day. Hopefully there was no homework left for me to do, because my head was hurting. My head was bad. And that's what happens when you get swung about by Cesaro. You get a splitting headache. So how he's standing is beyond me. And also, so much more happened that night. But at the conclusion at the night, I really started thinking a lot about what's next for Daniel Bryan, because next week, it will be Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns for the championship. And if Daniel Bryan loses, he leaves SmackDown, which means he's either going to Raw or leaving. I don't know how that's going to look, but I know I don't want to see Daniel Bryan leave WWE. I know that's for sure. But him leaving SmackDown, I don't know about that. I really don't. I don't know if that's a good move. I really don't. So I really got to see what happens next week, because if Cesaro said to Daniel Bryan, as Roman was challenging him, Cesaro said at the end of the night, "You have to take it. You have to take it." And he decided to take it. But with that conclusion, first of all, let me just say I'm glad Paul Heyman didn't stare Roman to death that time. I'm just glad about that. Number one. Number two, I'm really nervous about next week because I don't know what the conclusion is going to be for Daniel Bryan and what's next for Daniel if he leaves. Speaking of what is next, it seems we have Aleister Black is back. According to some promo that he did about some kind of father, I hope he's not referring to the evil father, but either way, he did a promo earlier today, somewhat of a gimmick, promoting his return. He told a story about a father, apparently a dark one, and talking about sheep who feel the earth, make it rotten, and all that other stuff like that. And I was quite surprised to see Aleister Black back because, as many of you know, in real life, he is married to, Zelina Vega, who is really known as Trinidad. So in real life, those two were together and are still together. So it just makes me wonder how that's going to play out. And if Aleister has any resentment whatsoever, because for those of you who need a little catch up, I don't know the complete definition of it, but there is this thing called unionization, something like that. And Zelina Vega was all for it. And because she was for that, WWE disagreed with that and had to, how's a nice way to put it, let her off contract, which is a nice way of saying fired. And she said on her Twitch page that she wasn't sad, she was just disappointed and heartbroken. And I'll be honest, I do miss seeing her in WWE myself. But some rumor has it that she's going to be in AEW. But I got to see how that works out. Because right now she's just a YouTube gamer, which is still pretty cool. But I'm just really curious. I'm really surprised to see Aleister Black back. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting all these B's and BLs mixed up, consonants. I'm really surprised that he's back, considering that she was gone. Because a lot of times when people leave, when one person leaves and the spouse is married to the person that leaves, the spouse goes along with it. So Aleister is still here, so I wonder how Vega feels about that. And I'm just curious to see where his career goes on from here and all. So that's one thing. Also, I need to point out a camera blooper. I don't know if you guys caught it, but there was a camera blooper that took place as Kevin Owens was making his entrance to face off against Apollo, who cheatingly won thanks to the distraction of crybaby Sami Zayn. But Kevin Owens, as he was coming out, there was a blooper that took place when he fell. Not he fell, the camera fell. That was hilarious. We have the funny moment of the week with Ember Moon, grab her, and now we have blooper of the week. Got some interesting stuff I can do. So that was funny to watch. That was hilarious. I gotta see if I can get that on. But again, Kevin Owens and Big E had a pretty bit of a funny moment, and it kind of gave me nostalgia to The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar with the laugh off at SummerSlam 2015, which was one of my favorite moments of the night, of the show, the match rather. So that was interesting. Of course, the Giant took his eyes off Apollo, fake accent. Now, I'm not disrespecting his heritage or where he came from. I would be the last person to do that. I'm just saying, you don't have to try and play off an accent like Kofi did. Kofi became himself a little more later on after he got caught by Triple H. But who's going to catch Apollo Crews? Let me know what you think. Either way, next week is one episode I cannot miss because it could be the last time we see Daniel Bryan. And congratulations to Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio because, in my mind, they are number one contenders for the Smackdown Tag Team Championships against the Dirty Dogs. Or should I say, in the words of the coach from The Waterboy, them bunch of dogs! But either way, I really can't wait to see the Dirty Dogs face off against Dominic and his son Rey Mysterio after they picked up a victory against Chad Gable and Otis, as I like to call him because he's a heel now, Otis the Evil Ogre. And I don't encourage bullying or anything of that nature. I just like to find funny things to say about villainous characters, just for the fun of it. But I hope that Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio get a tag team championship reign. That would be one of the best things to see. That's just me personally. And I believe there are a lot of you out there who agree with that. So I really hope they get a title run. I really, 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 really do. I really do. I think it will be great to help Dominic's career get up and at the same time help Rey Mysterio in what has already been an amazing career. So I really hope they get a champion. Hopefully they get a good run. Last but not least, excuse me. Last but not least, what's next? Not much I can think of. I think that's all the funny moments I can think of, and that's all the interesting moments I can think of, and just I can't wait to see what happens next week. There's not enough words to describe how nervous I am because I don't want Daniel Bryan to leave SmackDown. But at least if he lost, he wouldn't be leaving WWE. But I want to see, and I don't know about you guys, but I want to see Cesaro versus Roman. But now I gotta think about that thing because that means Daniel Bryan will be gone from SmackDown. So I really can't put too much on what I want to see at Backlash until I get past next Friday night. And that's all the time I got for you right now, folks. And I'll be back again for another review, or who knows, another funny moment to catch, or a funny blooper. Stay tuned and see what happens next. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace out.